caramba por la madrugada, donde va el canelo caramba por la madrugada. Acota la chuva, canelo para ensalada, acota la chuva, canelo para ensalada. A la tripi caramba, tripa de cochino, a la tripi caramba, tripa de cochino. Mi mamá no quiere canelo que yo tome vino.
Been living here for about 38 years. Nothing exciting goes on, and it seems like it's just a nice place to live in. Better than anywhere else, I guess. It used to be real nice around here. Pretty well-to-do people lived around here. Used to have some stores around here. Car shops, repair shops, and all of that, and it's a bunch of them is gone, and it seems like people just moving out of, for some reason, moving out of the ward here, the 6th Ward.
The 6th Ward was built initially as housing for railroad workers that built the railroad before the Civil War that eventually became the Katy after the Civil War. And most of the early houses were shotgun houses. After the initial settlement, which is primarily by the railroad workers and service workers associated with them, this neighborhood became a gateway neighborhood. And you had ethnic group after ethnic group moving through.
I remember a lot of Italian families. I had a few Italians living around me when we first moved into this house after, you know, we got married. And I really can't say why the Italians moved, but I'd like to think that they moved like a lot of other people that own property here because they wanted to go out to the suburbs.
They didn't agree with us living around here, with us Latins. In fact, we had St. Joseph Church who wouldn't allow no Spanish in there.
In the 40s, and probably right before World War II, the neighborhood began to become a Hispanic neighborhood, and particularly in the 50s became predominantly Hispanic, and is to this day a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. The decline of the neighborhood is probably not directly traceable to the influx of any particular ethnic group, but more relates to the fact that after the Central European families moved out and the Hispanic families began to move in, many of the houses were not sold but simply rented, either by relatives or by absentee landlords, law firms, banks, other trusts. And as a result, maintenance was a low priority.
We have lost a lot of houses, beautiful homes, through the years for business purposes or whatever the case may be. And the tearing down of houses, abandoned houses, that has changed the neighborhood a lot, very, very much so. And then the neighborhood also has changed from more or less through the years a permanent residence for the neighbors, the people that lived here, whereas now it's sort of a transit type of neighborhood.
We had sort of an influx of what, for lack of a better term, I guess you could call undesirable transients or bums or whatever. We've always had a group of sort of local characters that, you know, patrol the streets in garbage carts or whatever those things are, grocery carts, and collect junk, cans, and basically are completely harmless and really rather useful, and everybody knows them by name, and you know, you leave stuff out for them and they get out. And that to me, that's sort of the texture of the neighborhood. The new influx of some of these new people is a little disturbing. In
years past, we could, the neighbors and friends could go out and sit on your porch in the evenings, enjoy the evening and the community and different things like that.
Particularly with the high degree of vacancies, vacant houses in the neighborhood, the really alarming side effect of that has been a number of fires where really houses of either historic significance or certainly usable houses that are simply empty because their owners either choose not to rent them or bring them up to standard or whatever, have been destroyed for no reason, particularly in the winter. You literally have people who get cold and light a fire in the middle of the living room and fall asleep. Fire's still burning or it's in embers and the whole house burns down around them. That's probably the most common cause of fire in the neighborhood. I would like to see the neighborhood stabilize as a residential area. As it is now, because of its geographic isolation, it has been largely overlooked and ignored for 50 years. Within the last few years, particularly within the last couple of years, as it's accelerated, you've begun to see the encroachment of parking lots, expansion of the bail bond facilities. Inevitably, there will be chipping away at the edges of the neighborhood. However, it was their feeling that with a concerted effort of the people involved, the people who live in the neighborhood and people who would be drawn to the neighborhood, that it would be possible to stabilize the neighborhood as a residential area.
I like to see the people come back again, start living around here, build up their houses, looking livable. Now they let them run down and all weeds and everything else. So I like to see them sprout up again.
We know that the first part of this house was built in 1880, and they rebuilt it into a two-story structure in 1880. A man named James McGee that used to work on the Texas Central Railroad. Then in 1888, another man bought the house and he added this addition over here. Basically bought it because we started going to St. Joseph, and we like St. Joseph's Church, and we liked the neighborhood, and we wanted to be inside the inner city again. Some people don't down the slum, although there's some charming houses in it. It takes a special kind of person to move in. A lot of people ask us, a lot of our friends say, hey, how do you live here? You know, are you afraid to live here or what? And no, it's real comfortable. There are a number of special people in this neighborhood, and it's a matter of getting to know them. Plus there are problems here, but also there's a sense of community where we didn't have when we lived on a busy street out by the airport. And here you can walk the street and you get to know some people, good and bad, you know, but you get to know them, and there's a sense of community. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is a city of neighborhoods. Houston is a city of suburbs that doesn't really have neighborhoods. The Sixth Ward is a neighborhood, and it's really a pretty unique thing. And that is probably the single greatest draw for me. That's really why I'm here.
I like to call our parish multi-ethnic in that it has all those things. It's not just Anglo, it's not just Hispanic, it's not just Vietnamese, it's not just black. It's all of us together.
On my adventure in 6th Ward, I have learned how to use a video camera. Also, I have learned a lot of history about the 6th Ward. I have found some interesting people that live in the 6th Ward area. But mostly I've learned teamwork, and also I've learned that if everyone pulls their own weight, everything turns out all right.